American pilots, Japanese nightmare. During the bombing of Japan in 1944, 9 American pilots were captured. They were subjected to all kinds of torture, including death and even cannibalism. Only 20-year-old future President George Bush managed to escape. The bitter reality of modern slavery. Never before in human history have so many people lived under slavery. This alarming situation shows that modern slavery is still an ongoing problem. Gandhi's controversial actions. Mahatma Gandhi developed a habit of sleeping next to naked young girls to test his sexual desires. This behavior occurred when he was 70 years old and involved young girls, including his grandniece. RAF's terrible mistake. The British Royal Air Force mistakenly killed nearly 10,000 German concentration camp prisoners, thinking they were attacking Nazi generals. This tragic error has been recorded as a dark chapter in history. Shocking history. Facts school hides from you. During the American Revolution, the position of dictatorship was offered to George Washington, the first president of America. In 1998, a gruesome discovery was made in Benjamin Franklin's house. Human bones from 10 bodies were found. In the 1800s, among the weapons used by the New York police to apprehend and interrogate criminals were brass knuckles. There was a black samurai, Yasuke, originally an African servant who served under Japanese daimyo Oda Nobunaga during the Sengoku period. Like many royal members, King Tutankhamun's parents were relatives. According to DNA extracted from the mummy, his mother and father were actually siblings. The use of explosive-strapped dogs in World War II. Origins of the practice. Soviets used dogs strapped with explosives to target German tanks during World War II. The dogs were trained using Soviet tanks, which used diesel. When put into action, the dogs ignored the German tanks that used petrol and ran straight for their own tanks, causing friendly fire incidents. The friendly fire incidents eventually forced the Soviets to stop the practice of using explosive-strapped dogs to target tanks. Crazy facts about Sultan Abdulhamid II. It is said that Sultan Abdulhamid II resisted the use of telephones, which was one of the advancing technological developments of his time. In fact, it is claimed that he prohibited phones in his palace and punished those who used them. According to some sources, Sultan Abdulhamid II believed in magic, which was a popular belief of the time, and allowed some activities related to it in his palace. There are rumors that Sultan Abdulhamid II had a tendency not to have photographs taken during his era. He reportedly banned the taking of his or his family's photographs and severely punished those who did not comply with this ban. Additionally, there are some tales suggesting that he was afraid of his shadow being captured in photographs. Throughout history, some events have not only been peculiar and interesting, but have also questioned the boundaries of humanity. Stalin's forced industrialization. During the Stalin era, as Russia underwent forced industrialization, the food of the farmers was taken away from them. This led to widespread cannibalism, to the extent that even children resorted to eating their own parents. Nero orchestrated the deaths of his mother and first wife, going so far as to brutally kick his pregnant second wife to death. However, he later expressed remorse for these acts and forcibly castrated a young boy resembling his deceased wife, whom he then married, Emperor Commodus. Identifying himself as the reincarnation of Hercules, Commodus frequently wore lion skins and always carried a club. These eccentric beliefs and behaviors reflect a peculiar era in the history of the Roman Empire. Emperor Elagabalus. Upon ascending to the Roman throne, Elagabalus defied traditions by introducing the worship of the god Elagabalus, hosting explicit parties and rebelling against traditional dress norms. 10. Interesting things crazy Roman Emperor Caligula did. He had relationships with his 3 sisters during his adolescence. Caligula, who had a baldness complex, first declared it a crime for anyone to look down on him from a high place. Creative in taxation as well, Caligula usually collected taxes by having wealthy individuals killed and taking all their money. When there weren't enough prisoners left to fight lions in the arena, Caligula randomly selected people from the audience to be thrown into the arena in front of the lions. Pigeon, the last hope for survival. In a harrowing tale of survival, a unit of American soldiers found themselves trapped behind enemy lines, surrounded by German forces and cut off from communications, desperate for help. With failed attempts to contact the mainland, the soldiers turned to an unlikely savior, a pigeon. These courageous soldiers released pigeons carrying vital coordinates for reinforcements. Shot, blinded in one eye, and losing a leg, the determined bird defied the odds, successfully delivering the coordinates that would save nearly 200 men's lives. Constantinople, known as the heart of the Byzantine Empire, was a historic city with a rich Greek heritage and a strategic location. The story of the Ottoman Empire capturing this powerful city is quite striking. Under the leadership of Sultan Mehmed, the Ottomans had powerful cannons to overcome the sturdy walls of Constantinople. The most interesting part of the story is the role of an engineer. The engineer responsible for the construction of the cannons initially proposed his idea to the Byzantines, who rejected it. Later, he presented the same idea to the Ottomans. Sultan Mehmed used this weapon devastatingly during the siege. Despite the heroic efforts of the defenders, Constantinople eventually fell. This marked the end of the Byzantine Empire. Japan facts won't learn at school. World's oldest company is located in Japan. Established in the year 578 in the city of Osaka, Kongo Gumi, a construction company, is also the oldest company in the world. Japan has the 11th largest population in the world. It is estimated that 126 million people reside in Japan. Almost half of the world's zippers are produced in Japan. There is a dish in Japanese cuisine made from horse meat. The dish called basashi is prepared with raw horse meat, ginger, and onions. 80% of Japan's land consists of mountainous terrain. Japan is home to 10% of the world's active volcanoes, making it an excellent destination for skiing and scenic views. Libya's former leader, Muammar Gaddafi, was estimated to have a fortune reaching up to $30 billion. Gaddafi's wealth originated from utilizing his country's oil revenues for personal gain. Former president of Chile, Sebastián Piñera, has a wealth of around $2.4 billion. Piñera's riches stem from his successes in the business world and investments across various sectors. The fortune of Pakistan's former president, Asif Ali Zardari, is estimated at $1.8 billion. Accumulated throughout his political career, Zardari's wealth is based on his economic achievements. Venezuela's former leader, Hugo Chavez, had a fortune of approximately $1 billion. Chavez built his wealth by personally exploiting the oil riches of his country. The estimated wealth of Cuba's revolutionary leader, Fidel Castro, is $900 million. Castro's wealth came from various sources, accumulated during his long-lasting leadership. Elagabalus hired people in important roles based on their genital size, showcasing his extreme and bizarre behavior. He subjected women to public humiliation by chaining them to chariots and mercilessly whipping them, demonstrating his cruelty and lack of empathy. Reached new levels of depravity by throwing poisonous snakes into crowds of his own people, delighting in their terror and suffering as they were bitten and poisoned, showcasing his sadistic nature. His own grandmother orchestrated a plot to remove him from power. Elagabalus was eventually overthrown and beheaded, putting an end to his tyrannical rule. Crazy facts about dictators. Fidel Castro's actions prompted the U.S. Department of Defense to plan mock terrorist attacks in 2003, justifying war. In 1973, U.S. forces discovered around $750 million in Saddam Hussein's palaces, unveiling his staggering wealth. Mao Zedong once astonishingly offered to gift the United States 10 million Chinese women, claiming women were troublesome. At the time of his death, Muammar Gaddafi stood as one of the world's richest men, a testament to his immense wealth and influence.